All right. Hello and welcome to the second or the last two parts of this HRL history episode. We're going through the Blast from the Past tournament, going through the championship battles. One thing that I'm going to pull this up on the side real quick. One thing that I should go through that I did in an update video, but I should also show it here in the HRL history video in case you did not see the update video. So I'm just going to throw it out there right away. I did end up making a doc, which this is going to be like kind of like little outline on future HRL history episodes. So like for the whole championship battles thing that I'm doing, you can see literally all of those that I have planned here. Like they're all here. And yeah, if you look through those, there is a fudging lot, especially 8 in Halo 5, 6 in Halo 4, and then Reach and MCC both have one, which is kind of, I'm still going to do them, but it's just kind of funny that they only have one. But yeah, the freaking 8 Halo 5 battles, 4 Halo 4 battles, or 6 Halo 4 battles. It's gonna be kind of hard to do with like the videos for like the Halo 4 ones, but the Halo 5 ones would be really easy. The crazy thing is, look at these championship battles, bro. Slaunch might be like just some so like some really cool things that I noticed here quickly. He probably shows up in this list the most. I don't know like what his batting average is on how many of these that he ended up getting. I mean, he certainly got some of them. But just in general of like showing up in the list for these championship battles, I'm easily recognizing it because his freaking name has the red underline with it, so like it just pops out. But look at this. It's got to be at least, what is that? 8 right there. Oh my god, 11? That's insane. So 11 out of the 16 of these championship battles Launch is involved in some way, shape, or form. That's pretty ridiculous. So I don't even have to double check that. Like that's easily got to be the most to appear on this list. Another quick thing that I noticed, why I'm looking forward to this one. The only 5-man one is right here. The next one actually that I'm going to do, the season 7 grand finals. That's kind of cool too. But I don't want to spend too much time on this. There's the plans if you want to see that. Let's get right into. Actually came here for the episode. I'm gonna let this get to the start here, but yeah, Penitentiary is the track that we came to next, and this one is kind of bound to be interesting because Penitentiary is like, we really made St. Louis kind of like the technical Supercross. I would say that if we raced like an old version of St. Louis, it would not have been like, it would have been easier than this, I think. But with all the changes that we made to St. Louis going into this tournament, I think that sort of transferred St. Louis into being the technical track of the night, and then Penitentiary was more so like the intermediate Supercross, I suppose you could say. But one thing that we want to look at is the starts. Like the starts have been, as we went through in these previous races, the starts have been like pretty important. The starts have been making a fat difference in a lot of these battles, and end up determining like who gets the race win, especially with the championship battle. And that is going to be the case here with Penitentiary. So like we saw the whole shot. We saw that start. It was pretty crazy. But let's see where they work out at the end of this lap. And as you can see right here, this is the crazy thing. This keeps happening with this championship battle, which is why it's so dope. And Hunter unfortunately cheeses out there. But Detail and Luke already second and third, like one position off, trailing each other right away off the rip. But not in the lead. The one lone driver that has stolen that lead position is actually Vulcan. Vulcan was holding down the lead early on in this one, so he just kind of he just had to kind of come in hot, let everybody know that Vulcan was a force to be reckoned with in the Supercross.
I'm making shit up. He's not.
But unfortunately, wasn't able to lead a lap. Goes down to third before the end of that first lap. So already that championship battle between Detail and Luke is going to be raging on right off the rip from lap 1. They're able to work their way into 1-2. And that's what I was going through in a lot of these races. Like the starts are super important. Now don't get me wrong, we're going to see we already saw some races where the starts weren't everything. Like they're important, but they weren't everything. Like for example, the St. Louis race, both Detail and Luke had to work their way like massively through the pack and like gain positions just throughout the laps and sort of click them off during that race. I'd say the Barvo race is kind of like that as well. So those two races, like it wasn't as much. Guerco, I would say, was pretty start heavy. Like I think the start was definitely a fat factor on that track. That might be like the most start dependent track aside from Alpine in the whole schedule. Then we went to Mirabilis, and that one was kind of like the St. Louis race, I would say. where it's kind of just like clicking off positions lap after lap. And now we come here to Penitentiary, where it's sort of back to that like Guerco style. I don't think it's as important as on Guerco. Like Guerco is definitely the most start-dependent track, in my opinion. But this one, it was pretty important, and the fact that they were able to get out to front two was huge, especially because Slanch ends up having a pretty good run through the field. But as you can see right here, he's already worked his way up to fourth, which is pretty impressive. But the person that like got conked, if you missed it, one driver like got super stuck. Not right there, sorry. It's like right there. They got stuck right off the rip. That actually was Slanch. So he had to come back from that. He's already up to fourth, and that is pretty good. And now he's got like completely open air too, while this championship battle is going to be going on right here with Vulcan potentially playing spoiler in third. So that might actually allow him to like come back into this race. Let's conk up a little bit. Okay, so one thing that I look at a lot in this race, this kind of goes throughout quite a few of the blasts from the past races, but it's kind of funny how a lot of these races ended up being like that top 2 or top 3 battle. Like you could see, we get some good shots right here, the mid pack. Like they kind of have their own pack going, but it just got like super separated. And that's just like at this point in the night, it was kind of, you know, everybody was kind of settling into their positions. This is the 5th race of the night, of an 8-race night, so everybody's kind of settling into their points positions. And you kind of saw that in the races too with the packs. Like you kind of had different packs that were closer for points start to work up. Now this one's a little bit different though, because you have Hunter, who's probably, I would say like Real Deal's definitely in the lead of this pack. Opix is definitely in the back because he had that lag out, and then Hunter's like somewhere in the middle. So this is just like a weird mid pack where they're just going at it, trying to get whatever points they can. Whoa, that was weird. I just skipped like 3 minutes ahead, and it was like perfectly at the same spot of the track. That's freaking weird. But as this series is focused on the championship battle, I want to get back to that. So here we are. We're not really that close to the end of the race, but we're getting there, all right? We're getting to the final stages of the race. We're past halfway. Oh my, dude. Okay, I was about to get fucking pissed. But as you can see, this is where it starts to get really interesting. The quality's completely conked. Oh my god, chalk it, chalk it. Hey, we're back. This is where it's getting super close. Luke really, like, within about a goose length or so of detail, gonna make a move. Now would be a pretty decent time. Slanch is actually still in third, and as you can see, he was making gains, starting to catch up, and, you know, we probably missed a little bit of it here and there, but just the battle going on here in front, and plus that clean air, is definitely giving him an opportunity to get back into this race. And it's kind of huge, because if he could steal a position from one of these drivers, the other one still gets the win. Like that could be huge. Like for example, if Detail holds on for the win, but Slanch steals the second from Luke, like that could give Detail that extra little cushion of points that he needs for that championship battle. So he's like, or he could just push past both of them, get the win, and kind of like, let's say Detail holds second, Luke gets third, Slanch pushes forward for the win. Like that kind of helps if you think about it. That actually kind of helps Luke with how the race is going right now, because instead of Detail gaining those 2 extra points for the win, he'd only be gaining 1 point on him. So it's kind of an interesting scenario here, where Slanch can really like affect the championship battle in this scenario if he can make any moves. So that's what makes this particular race so interesting, I think, is the fact that we have this good battle between the top 2 drivers in the championship up front, but also Slanch starting to enter in and potentially play spoiler. He made a rough run right there though, so he's going to lose a little bit of time, but there's still time left in the race and still plenty of time for him to make a move, or for any of these drivers really to make a move. But that lap, a couple of mistakes coming out, it separated. Detail is definitely going to gain some on that one. Definitely worked his gap, and as you can see, by the time we're getting there, not that many laps left. Ooh, a little slow through the rhythm though. That's definitely going to allow Luke to gain a little bit back up. And again, this is last few laps of the race, so if anything, if Luke can pull out anything here, it would be absolutely huge to stop the streak as well, because now we're at the point where Detail's on 2 wins in a row in this tourney, and if he gets this one, that's 3 wins in a row, and that is some freaking momentum if I've ever seen it, and that's definitely an important thing in championship battles. Like we've seen things in the past where drivers will just like get the momentum and they're just like on fire for a certain 6 race run or something like that. Doesn't even have to be all wins, but just like they're on the podiums, they're on those top 3s, top 2s, and then even getting some wins in there, and it's just like seems that everything goes their way. You can really get that momentum, and I think that's definitely a thing in Halo racing, and I think he's definitely caught that right now. But at the same time, there's not too many laps left, and look at this. It's getting pretty close. We also have a lapped driver potentially going to play a role, so this might get interesting. And then Solange is still... Oh, little mistake coming out of detail. This could get interesting. Solange also still in third, but we kind of lost him a little bit here. I think he got pretty close and then maybe made a couple mistakes or so and started to lose pace a little bit. But if these guys tangle up in this battle up front, that could, that could still bring him back into it. So I wouldn't even say that he's completely out of it at this point. Both drivers going to be running the outside of this rhythm lane right here. Honestly, pretty even runs right there. It's kind of hard to tell who had the better run. It's pretty close, really. Going through this double single. It's going to be a close one. Looks like I'm thinking Detail definitely had the better run there. Although it wasn't as stretched as I thought. And here comes the lap driver. Could potentially play a role here. He's going to try to stay out of the way. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, that could have been close. So going about things that, like... need to go your way. Like if that crash just happened a little bit of a weirder way, like that could have been catastrophic for Detail right there. But it ended up happening in like just the perfect way where he was able to just like tuck under it. Worked out really well for him. How many laps?
White flag lap this time.
I needed that help. So white flag here. This is the absolute last opportunity for Luke to try to take the win. And look, this is like the closest they've been that we've seen in like these last 5 minutes or so. So let's see if we can make anything happen here. I think that this would be a decent... he could probably conk if he wanted to, but Detail actually made a good move there and tried to like protect the middle, so that if Luke did go for that move, he would have had it. Luke's actually going for like more so the long term there. Actually ran the outside line, but he ends up getting a ton of momentum. And then here we go. We're going to be going into this rhythm section. This is going to be a big question here because this is one of the tougher parts of the track. If you're going to mess up, it's probably going to be here. Can they both run it clean on the last lap? This is probably going to decide the race, and yeah, that was about as clean as it can get, so out of both drivers, honestly. So time is kind of running out here. Detail had a really good like after that neg camber, he's just been running really clean after that, and his lap's been really solid after that neg camber. So he's definitely gained a little bit of time here. So the door is closing for Luke to try to make that final move to try to steal this win and get the championship battle back on track for his favor. Through the sand section, through the rollover, it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good, but there's still technically a section left. Can make it happen. Oh, no, a rough run on the exit of that jump. That's probably going to secure it, and Detail is going to take the win here for Penitentiary. Luke coming in second, and Solange starting to get it back there at the end. Going to come in third, so could have played that spoiler role, but not able to do it. So at the end of that race, that is going to give... that is going to give Detail his third win in a row, and that makes the points really interesting because this is the turning point of the tournament, quite literally, for this championship battle. Detail actually takes, with that win, a 1-point lead. A 1-point lead for the championship. So it leaves... there we go. So it leaves Luke with 79 points and Detail with 80 points. Here, 5 races in. Let's get right into the next one. Why not? So going into the next one is actually going to be Treppenwitz. And Treppenwitz, I think, has only been raced one time before. So that's kind of interesting. A lot of these tracks that we picked have been raced multiple times in the Grand Finals. Not all of them, but a decent amount of them. This is one that has only been raced once. Oh, yeah. Grizzly did get raced in the Grand Finals. I don't know why I just thought of that. Grizzly and Barvo, the two ovals, only got raced once. Has there even been an oval that's been raced twice in Grand Finals? I don't know. I have to research that later. But here we are, green at Treppen, and this is another big race because Detail is usually pretty strong at Rallycross, and he's probably got the momentum from that close Mirabilis win. So if he can get a really nice run here and get another win at Treppen, that could be 4 in a row, and that leaves only 2 races left for Luke to get back on the board and respond. So this is like a big nail in the coffin almost opportunity here for Detail. I wouldn't say not quite yet, because he still only has a 1-point gap going into this, and even if he has a really good race, and if Luke doesn't, that's still only going to give him like a small gap to where like a win for Luke in the next race and like a 3rd place for Detail could bring it back even for Grizzly pretty much. So it's not going to really put the nail in the coffin, but if Detail has a really good race here, it could, and this is actually big. Let's go back to this. I'm saying it could damn near seal it up. But look at this right here. So a little slow-mo. And this is big, because this is a big race for Luke to try to get out front and try to like respond early on. He's gonna try to stick the outside here, but that driver just gets a rough run, a two-wheel, and it's gonna toss him off the berm right there. So now he has to get back on the track. Tries to safely re-enter, about as safe as it could have been. Makes a little bit of contact with Roman, but not too bad. And I think that's actually the armor, dude. I hate how the armor's always contact. That's actually detailed there in second. So he's already, again, the starts, man. Like his start was on point. As you can see, Luke's not off to a great start. Like that incident in the sand section, that was not great. And this is kind of the opposite of Mirabilis, where Detail was kind of like trolling. He's actually going for a solid start here. Going to try to have a good race, and he's going for that early Joker strategy as well. So he's gotten yet another good start under his belt. Like I'd say these last two tracks were probably the two most, I mean honestly Guerco too, but those were like pretty important start-based tracks, and he's been nailing them. Like Guerco, big start-based track, nailed the start. Penitentiary nailed it as well, and then this track, of course, like second, like that's not bad. So the tracks where you really need to get that start down, he's been on point, and that's definitely going to be a big factor in this champ battle for sure. Let's conk ahead a little bit. Okay, so I should probably mention this. So Real Deal is actually the leader early on, and like how I was talking about Slaunch earlier, Real Deal is in a position where he can kind of play the spoiler. You know, a lot of these recent races, we've had the only race so far, actually, this is kind of crazy, 5 races in, the only race that hasn't been a 1-2 from Detail and Luke was St. Louis, where Luke finished first and Detail finished third. That is the only one. So this is an opportunity here. We've had a few opportunities, like we saw at Penitentiary, Slaunch could have done it. Can Real Deal play the spoiler here? And whether he wins the race, whether he finishes in between them, like whatever he does, can he play that spoiler role and kind of like mix up that champ battle? Because so far, it's been mostly Detail and Luke at the front for this tournament. So if Real Deal can come in with a really good race here, get a podium in between them, or get a win in front of both of them, that could really change how their points battle would go. Like I was talking about with Slaunch, like, you know, for example, that win is a huge, in this point system, winning is huge. It's a 2-point. Every other position is just like 1 point on the previous position. In this format, the win is the only one that gives you two extra point cushion. So that's absolutely huge. And if he can pull this out here, could definitely mix things up. That's actually Vulcan there competing for second, which is insane. And Vulcan's another driver. Look at this. Like, he's up here in the top 3 battle. He's there. Like, he's there. He's competitive. So he's another driver that could play spoiler. And Luke is on the back burner here. He has had a rough start, trying to come back and trying to get back into the podium. So Detail is going to take his Joker here. This might be his last Joker, and this is a big moment in the race. How is it going to come out? Looks pretty solid so far, and I mean, that looks pretty clean, unless Real Deal has another Joker to respond, which I think he might have. Luke also takes his Joker and is going to come out ahead of Vulcan with that, so that's pretty big too. So we might have like the most spoiler-heavy race here, because we have 2 potential drivers that could mix up the battle here. Race VOD. I mean, it's not really a VOD. It's HRL history. A little bit different. So as we go here, I think the big question here is whether Real Deal has that extra Joker or not. Pretty sure he does. And then that might make things interesting, because he did have the lead on Detail before Detail took that Joker, so he might be able to take it back if he has another one up his sleeve. Pretty sure that Luke and Vulcan are both done with their Jokers, and it's going to be tough for them to catch up. Like, look at that. That's a pretty big gap there to try to catch up to Detail. So that's going to be tough to do. So at this point, for this champ battle, it's basically a mission for Luke to try to take that second place spot and not get it stolen from him. From either of these 2 drivers that are near him. So this is, oh shit, that was tough, and this is a big moment of the race right there. Go back. I'm slow-moing it, biatch. I'm conking. No, this is actually important. So Real Deal 100% has another Joker left, and he could take that lead back pretty easily. But that little conk on the downhill chicane might end up costing him. The nice thing, though, is that that's actually a pretty good recovery. Like, that's not too bad. So he actually, like, he recovers. He actually pulls out in front of Vulcan. So that's not too bad of a recovery. So he still has a chance. He's going to go for it right away, which is probably a good idea. So he's going for it. You can tell Detail's ripping to try to get back out there, because this is a chance to take it back. Here they come, side by side to the line. I think Real Deal might have even led that lap. But Detail has the slight advantage, but here they go side by side, super close into the downhill. Inside line for Real Deal. He's going to block. He's going to do the block pass as well, but Detail still has a little bit of room. Oh, what the hell? What was that? This battle is getting dumb. And then through the sand, and it looks like now Detail might have that spot locked up. It looks like it might still go on for a little bit, but we got to hold on. We got to watch that sequence back. What the hell was that? So going into slow-mo again. We got I only exposed because he came in. But this battle gets stupid. So Real Deal goes for like the slight block, but then goes back at the very end to give a little bit of room, which is going to allow Detail to get that landing, but then he lands on top of him and like goes over him, and then that ends up slowing down Real Deal. Detail has to get back onto the track, but they both force each other super low into the next corner. Come back into this corner as well. Real Deal back to the inside, just trying to get a little bit of a run there, a little bit of a steal of momentum, but just wasn't quite able to do it. Exposing? Nah, I don't think so. Oh, you want to talk about expose? Hold on. Let's go back right there, Real Deal. What was that? What was that? Come on. Come on. Yul. Alright. Alright, so moving on here. This is going to be, that if this solidifies that battle, then that's pretty huge. So if Detail can just cruise to the win here, then that's going to be big. Because now Luke here in third needs to make a pretty big climb, catch up to Real Deal, and try to take this second place to try to lose the least amount of points possible. So this is what I was talking about. Real Deal, and Vulcan's still close behind. Vulcan's low-key hooping on this track, which is weird because I don't even know if he raced it, to be honest. Like I could not tell you how he did when we actually raced this in the grand finals, or if he even raced that race. I have no idea. Maybe I'll have to look back at that. But he's actually low-key hooping in this one. Like, he's been there. He was behind Detail when it was like that top 3 battle. He's been behind Luke and Real Deal that whole time, like when Real Deal wrecked and came back out in front of Vulcan. Vulcan was right there, just couldn't quite take advantage. So like, he's been there the whole time. And it's going to come down to the end if he can try to make anything happen. The lead battle's starting to get a little bit gapped here, so we're getting to that point. We're getting to the point where, that was a close run right there. Where if Real Deal doesn't make any fat gains quickly, because if we look at this time left for about 6 minutes, doesn't make any fat gains quickly, then this race could be chalked. He's getting pretty close. Definitely not out of it yet. Getting to Detail's bumper. Vulcan also is still in it. Through the sand section, oh, you can just tell he's trying to make something. He's going to go for it here. Oh, pretty close. If he could have got like some crazy contact right there, that could have maybe changed the outcome of this race. Like that could have been huge. But just wasn't quite able to do it. But now he's going to try to recover going into the sand section of the quad chicane. Detail had a pretty rough run, but Real Deal also had a pretty rough exit. Kind of pretty much equaled out. Here we go into the quad chicane. Oh no, and that was it. You could tell Real Deal went for it that time. You could tell that was like the, you know what, it's gonna happen. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen here. But it did not quite go down, and this is where it gets interesting. So now Detail is pretty much like, look at this time. Like he's pretty much looking pretty solid for this win. Like he's gonna take this. Whoa, potential big move out of Luke there, but not quite able to make it stick. But yeah, I think Detail, it's chalked. He's gonna get the 4 in a row here. So now, at this point, it is this battle for second and third. And like I said before, low-key, Vulcan, like kind of like the role that Slanch was playing last race, like Vulcan is not too far behind. Like if these two drivers go at it for a little bit, have that hard battling like we saw with Real Deal and Detail, where they're just like going at it, this is kind of what we're seeing here, then that will allow Vulcan to catch up a little bit. And Vulcan's not, again, like he doesn't even need that help. Like he's been pretty good at this track. He's been there. He's been like the clear 4th place driver this entire race. All he needs is just a little bit of help, and he'll be right there and potentially even be able to take the positions. So going through the sand section here. Ooh, a little conk out of Real Deal there. That's going to cost a little bit of time. And again, anything like that happens, Vulcan's just going to inch closer a little bit, and the lead battle is just getting it's out there. It's done. It's chalked. Luke going for it on the inside of the sand section. Oh, that was a risky move. Loses quite a bit of time, but does not go down. I think that's the important thing there. And that's the tough part of that sand section. Like you can go for moves in that sand section, but it has got to be it's got to be the riskiest part of the track to go for the move. It could be the most rewarding, like if you get lucky halo physics, but it's got to be by far one of the most risky parts of the track to try to make something happen. All right, wait, let me go pre-luch here. Say something, damn it!
Dildo getting loose there.
He didn't say anything. Fuck your pool noodles. So now catching back up. And another conk. Oh my god, this is gonna be costly. Real Deal's literally falling apart. Vulcan's coming back into it. This could severely shake up the championship battle, and it's absolutely, I know I've said this several times, but it's literally chalked now. Like, Detail's definitely getting this 4 in a row. Not gonna be any contest from these drivers unless something insane happens. Like, there's just no way. Going into the sand section now, and Vulcan, honestly, I feel like Vulcan should be on their bumper at this point with all these conks, but he's still kind of far off. But Rildo messes up the sand section again. Another rough sand run, and Vulcan, I'm actually seriously surprised that he's not like on the bumper right now. I genuinely feel like he should be gaining quicker, but with all these conks, it could happen. Luke's gonna go for it in the sand section again. Not gonna happen. Like, the run was just not there that time, but again, that's gonna slow him down, allow Vulcan to gain a little bit. Vulcan was probably able to run the fast line that time. Rildo a little slow through the quad chicane again, made a little bit of contact with the pole. It's actually not too bad of a run, to be honest, but that contact, that third contact he's made that we've seen, could be more. You know, that could have been bad. Look, fat whip right there. You could tell that everybody, like, what Real Deal was doing to try to get by Detail earlier, the roles have reversed at this point. Like, Luke wants this second place more than anything because if he gets this second, then it's still looking really good. Like, he still has Alpine Run and he still has Grizzly, and those are two tracks that he could definitely take this championship battle back in his favor. So, but getting this second place would definitely help. Like, if he doesn't get this second, Detail is going to get a little bit of a cushion. And look at this. This is getting interesting. Even Slaunch in 5th is, like, not too far behind. If, like, a crazy crash happened, like, this is actually getting close. Is this white flag? I think next one might be white flag. So here we go. I'll know it. I'll know it when we get to it. So here we go. Into the sand section one more time. There's been a few rough runs for Real Deal through the sand section. Is it going to happen again? No. Actually, a pretty good run that time. Keeping it clean. But Vulcan's still close. Oh my god, this is going to get cheesy. Here we go into the sand section again. Our risky move's going to be taken. Luke again is going to go for it on the inside. Oh no, the unfortunate halo conk at the end of it. And that is tough. Now Vulcan moves ahead to 3rd on the final lap. Little bit of time remaining. A couple more corners left on the track. Could anything else possibly happen? Going into the jump. Can Luke recover? Whip at the very end. Going for it on the inside. Low-key, really close with Vulcan. Gonna go for it again. Lands on top of him, but not able to make it happen. And at the end, now it's going to be the 4th place, first off the podium finish for Luke of the tournament. And that is going to be pretty big for this championship battle. And if you're Detail, that's exactly what you wanted to see. Now he's going to be moving up to 97 points on the tourney. Whereas Luke going down to 92. I think that's right. It might be off by 1. I don't know. Points gap is like 5 or 6 points. That's what the points gap is at. So now we're gonna go into the last two.